Hello YouTubers, welcome to episode number. And today I was just back from having a wonderful skull in the skull earlier in the morning just to get some flatter water. It worked quite well for about 80% of the time, and the next 20% all the boats from the Rewind festival that was going on at the weekend decided it was time to move, so it was a bit choppy, but the chop, or my ability to deal with the chop, is getting better. Great success! So I'm not falling in every time, or feeling like I'm going to fall in every time a boat passes. So that's a good sign. But now it's time for breakfast, fueling up after a session, because remember, food is fuel. But today we have some beans, some breaded toast, some avocado and some eggs, and Mary is joining me for breakfast with the same but a reduced sample size for breakfast. Oh yeah. And then today for the next session we've got some sort of cardio and then some sort of weights as well. We're switching from sets of 8 to sets of 5. Oh yeah, we're switching to that strength power. Okay, let's eat some breakfast and then get to the next session. Woo! And we've made it to the club. We're gonna hop on the erg. Got my erg shoes. Just a little 12k UT2. Oh yeah. Let me know in the comments below a lot of questions again about drag factor if you would like me to talk about drag factor. Alright, let's get to it.
I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Who's wisdom sleeping in my head.
Our workout. You saw a bit of Ollie there in slow-mo. He was just finishing off his 20 bagger big lead, and then I joined in for the last sort of 12k. Alright, UT2, so 149 something. But it's very hot, very sweaty. I don't know if you can see the sweat. That might have just been a weird angle of the floor. How's that, Ollie?
Pretty hard. I'm tired. Yeah. Done.
One of those, yeah, just getting it finished. And then on to the next session. Oh yeah! So remember now, we've got to fuel up because food is fuel. And then weights later on. Okay, let's get to it! And made it to the house, got my fuel, just for the first little snack. Got my tortellino, ravioli, filled ravioli with lamb and stuffed from the shop of some sort with some pesto, oh yeah. And a few pints of milk. And then I'll probably have some other snack as well, maybe some mackerel and spinach and bread and stuff before weights, and then have a protein shake at weights as well. Oh yeah! Been a quick day actually, been really trying to push the 3 sessions this week. Not necessarily high volume sessions, but pushing the sessions so that I'm getting used to, like if I'm doing 2 sessions, I have the opportunity to do 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, so like a huge break in the middle. So the recovery is huge, but then when I hopefully get back into the team, it's quite difficult to then go from like that big break to then all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I've got 3 sessions and I've only got an hour and a half or an hour in between and I have to keep going, So you have to get used to that, but also be fit enough to do that. So making sure the breaks are good for me now, like I'm having 2 hours plus in between sessions, but also making sure that I'm starting to get used to doing more per day, rather than just sort of sticking to it, rather than just sort of just being slightly lazy with it or whatnot. But I'm really trying to take the opportunity of not being on a strict time program, so I can sort of just take the time during the day, have that recovery, have that rest, because like I said last week, rest and recovery is really important, especially when you're training every day. But even in general, for general life, getting enough sleep, getting enough food, being rested, just makes everything that just a little bit more easy, a little bit more, it makes you just that little bit more productive to do all the things that you want to do, rather than just sort of getting through the day. Alright, enough of that lecturing, back to eating. So I'm going to just eat this because food is fuel and then head to weights. So I will see you there unless anything happens in between then and now. Okay. And made it into the gym, and we've got 5s today instead of 8s, so put the weight up a little bit, maybe like a whole kilo or 2, and then do some weights heavier to work on a bit more strength rather than a bit more size. But I mean 8s, 5s, 3s, but to 5s. Here we go, let's get lifted.
Make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin. Cause we're still sleeping in my head.
And that is us finished a wonderful weight session for today. You saw some squats, you saw a little bit of leg press, and then I've fired in some hip thrusts and everything. Actually a really good session, but it's taken me longer and longer as the volume, or as the sets increase in volume. But like I said, I'm switched from 8s to 5s to work more on strength. And I'm also trying to focus on a bit of, focus on my rest in between sets. I'm actually go on my phone, set the timer for about 3 minutes, do a set, click start on the timer, and when the alarm goes off, start the next set or get on the next set. And that's so to make sure that I'm getting the best benefit from the strength reps, like 5 roughly for reps. And this means that I'm using the proper energy system, getting good enough recovery, and making sure that I'm producing, or I'm able to lift the heavier weights that I'm doing when the reps come down. And obviously if you want to go head into hypertrophy, you usually reduce the rest and reduce the weight as the rest comes down as well. That's a little bit of to do with your energy systems in the body. You use different energy systems which replenish in different times, and you use different types of fuel as well, because remember, food is fuel, but there are plenty of different types of fuel within the body itself. But a quick Google will let you know about that. And if you want me to try and discuss, and remember, I'm not a sort of physiologist, I'm not a coach, but I know a little bit about it just for experiences. If you'd like me to discuss a little bit more of that, I certainly can. And remember, let me know in the comments below if you would like me to discuss drag factor a little bit more. That's me, like one specific episode dedicated to drag factor, because I'm getting a lot of questions still. Even though I've discussed it multiple times, people still ask 10, do I do the middle, do I do 1, which do I do? Does it mean it's heavy, does it mean it's light? Does it mean I'm going to go faster, does it mean I'm going to go slower? I can answer all these questions again, but maybe in a dedicated episode, so when someone asks, I can say, okay, go to episode blah blah blah, and that can answer all your questions. But if you don't want to know any more about drag factor, if you already know everything about drag factor, that's fine too. And I think that will be it for the episode for today. I've been in this building for enough time, especially during weights with the high reps or lower reps, high sets, lots of rest. Been in here for approximately 5 o'clock now, 5:15, so I've been in here for about 2.5 hours, no. Yeah, about 2.5 hours I've been in here doing weights. That's quite a lot of time, maybe a little bit less, but it's quite a lot of time. Basically because, so if I've got 5 sets and I'm doing 3 minutes of rest, that's 18 minutes just on rest. So about 20 to 25 minutes on one exercise, roughly. And then you're doing, I don't know, 6 different exercises, so there you go, that's a lot of time. And Callum Lifter Johnson's heading off to do some bursts on the ergo, checking his techers, checking if 120 still feels good. And you've got Callum McBriarty as well doing some UT2 as the fans spin up. But I think that will be the episode for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, up about here somewhere. Hit that like button and have a good one.